who are women being lied to about that movement right here.
What do you think the fallout of Me Too has been now, approaching 10 years hence?
I often hear from men that they are now more reluctant to go up to a woman in a bar or whatever. That there's this problem of fear of being falsely accused of something. And so I believe them, if some men are experiencing that. I'm sure, though, what's gone on is that the men who were already sexually aggressive and likely to actually be, Me Too perpetrators haven't changed their behavior at all. And the men who started being really careful were probably fine to begin with.
If you were a raper, the recent social media campaign probably, they've got a hashtag on Twitter, I'd better stop going around raping.
Yeah, which is, I wrote about in my first book, and it applies to this as to loads of things, the problem of normal distribution, where you have some trait which is arranged on a bell curve. And the problem is that if you apply some intervention, so whatever that is, like a social movement like Me Too or some policy change or whatever, probably what you want to do is you want to actually target one of the tails. You want to, so we've got a bell curve of sexual aggression, and there's this like most aggressive end who are causing no end of harm. What we want to do is make them stop. But it's you can't.
What's very interesting about that movement is it had its legs and its merit in the beginning because Weinstein is such a creep. He's basically this power abusing Weinstein. This guy's the epitome of the men they're trying to create. These liberal-minded, nasty-looking, bug sandwich. He's built like the Michelin Man mutant version. Power tripping, beta male energy, like disgusting soy sandwich all rolled into one. This is the man that the progressives want to create wholesale. They want guys like him. And when these guys get power, they abuse it. And it's not a surprise, man. All these weak men that are leading societies today off the hard work of their grandfathers, this is the result. How hard the economy is on everybody, how hard the social fabric is on everybody, how hard everything is on everybody today is because the culture, the economics, how we treat one another, it's all distilled from the top. And when we look at the top, what's shown on TV, what's shown on social media, what's shown at the top of the government, how all these people are behaving, they're filtering down that lifestyle on all of us, the ideals. They're selling us those dreams. They're selling us that propaganda. This is how you should live. This is empowerment. This is what a bad boy is. This is what a boss bitch is. This is what you do to get ahead. Forgo all your morals. Sell your body. Become a commodity. Hypersexualize yourself. Get addicted to video games, to porn, to all this stuff. They're selling us this, and they profit from it, especially. Unlike us, who are mostly just consumers, they're also producers, and they're making a ton of money off that. So when they say like we hate toxic masculinity, traditional masculinity is evil, they're talking about a man's man. They're talking about a dude that's used to working with his hands, a guy that would hold the door open, that would say, "Good morning, ma'am," that would say, "Hey, I just want to come up to you and tell you you're gorgeous, and whether you're interested or not, have a nice day." Very basic things like what a man used to be, what we used to define men as. Like, oh my God, you see someone in public being robbed or being hurt and you go to save them. You help the old lady cross the street. You used to do all the things that were expected of a good, upstanding, moral man. And then they took a movement that was rightfully targeting creeps in positions of power, and then they started just wholesale applying it to all men. And then they started fabricating tales about innocent men. And then they used it as a weapon to destroy political opponents. And so the movement got co-opted by power-tripping goons and weaponized against toxic masculinity. And now we're here where almost every man goes, it's not worth it. I've seen too many cases of guys in college getting kicked out with no recourse. I've seen too many cases of men losing their jobs, decades in a career field, specialists at their craft, maestros at their work, absolutely destroyed by an accusation from a woman. And it's led to businesses and small businesses, at least, that completely avoid hiring a certain gender. I've read the emails of small business owners saying, "I'd rather not. I've had one. I've had issues." They've come into the group. It's become a toxic work environment, destroyed productivity, got really catty and gossipy, and nearly cost me my entire business. So a lot of business owners are running lean with small teams, and they're trying not to include women. And this is just part of what I read. The other half of men that are retired and free now to speak out will tell you horror stories about what's happened when they've diversified and included their workforce just cause color of skin or what's in between your legs, but you had no merit to be there. And so we created a society of people doing jobs they don't have the merit to be doing, and it's causing problems with productivity and efficiency. And this is not what we want. When we talk about free market capitalism, like America likes to pin all its ideals on, where's the free market? Why is the government interjecting quotas? Why can't we let the best just rise to the top for simply being the best? Shouldn't matter what's in between your legs or the color of your skin or what you believe in. Anything. None of that should matter. You're either good or you're not. End of story.
Can't just apply an intervention to that point on the normal distribution. Like, it's going to shift in one way or another, and everyone is going to be affected.
You're smearing the entire group with the same solution.
Yep. So what you end up with is moving the threshold for being like reluctant to go up to a woman in a bar or whatever slightly, just to mean that like some of the nice guys are not doing it. Like, but that doesn't actually improve. It doesn't affect the rapists. And it doesn't improve women's experience of it. David
Buss's book, Bad Men, talks about it's one man doing 1,000 sexual assaults, not 1,000 men doing one sexual assault.
Yeah.
You know, it's repeat offenders over and over and over and over again. And unfortunately as well, repeat victims. There is something about the way that, again, this isn't victim blaming, but it is like something about the way that women hold themselves, where they showed this to, I think, maybe criminals in prison or assaulters or men that had assaulted people, and showed them a number of women walking, and they asked them to pick which one they would attack if they were going to, and they converged on the same women. So, you know,
I bet you it has to do with how they're dressed, at what time of the day / night, you know, all the things that we used to tell women, hey, you need to watch out for because there's crazy people out here. Unfortunately, there's some mentally unstable men prowling the streets at night, and it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman. If you're a man, you'll get robbed, you'll get stabbed, or you'll get shot, and they take your shit. If you're a woman, stuff like this could happen to you. Don't walk alone at night in dark alleys or public parks where there are mentally unstable people lounging around, to lower your chances of any of this happening. Now, in a lot of the recent cases that I've been reading and seeing on the news, it's typically been one woman was jogging in like the middle of the night, and then a homeless person obviously attacked her. Another dude getting robbed and stabbed to death, you know, in an alleyway, taking out the trash. Another, you know what I mean? At night. We do have to apply some common sense. Obviously, not all cases are like this. Doesn't need to be said, but we have to say it out loud anyways. But in a huge portion of these cases, things could have been avoided if you're more mindful of the fact, whether you're a man or a woman, that there are crazy people prowling the streets, and I probably shouldn't be out there at certain times of the night. Or if I am out there, make sure I'm not drunk and inebriated, stumbling my way home. Make sure I'm in a group of people with friends that can look after me. Make sure when I get into that Uber, I'm with at least 1 or 2 other people. You can lower your chances dramatically if you just go with that mindset of not trusting people.
For all that we can say, you know, it's not about wearing the skirt. It shouldn't be about being in the dark alley at the wrong time. All the rest of it, like, correct. But there is something about particular women that causes predators to see them as viable prey. Does that excuse it? No. Does that, you know, is that them choosing it? Also, no. But like, this is just the way that the world appears to be.
Yeah.
It's ruthless.
Yeah. And it drives me mad that we tell lies to girls all the time about this, because we're so desperate not to appear to be victim blaming, that we'll say, oh no, you can behave like a man, you can do whatever you want, go back to some random guy's house, it'll be fine. And then when it inevitably isn't fine, we're like, oh well, you know, he shouldn't have been sexually aggressive. I was like, yes, obviously, but we don't, you know, I would love to just like delete every rapist from the world all at once. I can't do that. Like, if the advice that I'm going to be giving my daughters is going to be, unfortunately, different from the advice I'll give my sons.
What would be the advice that you'd give them?
It's like, for instance, don't go back to a random man's house that you've just met. Like, basic, okay? Like, consider it to be completely commonsensical up until even like the 1980s, you know. This is like recent stuff, but basically unsayable now, in feminist circles at least. Except everyone quietly says it, you know.
Well, again, it's the stated and revealed preferences
Yeah.
thing. Like, how many parents that will proselytize about this on CNN and say that, we shouldn't be telling women, oh, so you're saying that we should just accept the fact that men are going to do this. It shouldn't be that women should change their actions, men should change their behavior. Okay, what did you tell your 17-year-old daughter to do last weekend? Did you say, make sure that you text me when you get home, make sure that you're home before 11, etc.?
Don't get an unlicensed taxi, whatever. Yeah.
Stated and revealed preferences.
Yeah. And what drives me bananas is that there are some girls who don't actually have parents or friends or whoever who are privately telling them the truth. All they hear is the public misdirection.
And that's unfortunate. That public misdirection, the propaganda, the virtue signaling, that's what it is. It's so disgusting that you can go on national television or some public space and virtue signal how the world, telling people how the world should be. Men shouldn't be doing this, period. You should be going out, girlfriend, at 2 a.m, being completely wasted, stumbling down the street to your house and be completely safe. When knowing in reality that either their own kids or their friends' kids or whoever it is that they care about, they tell them, do not go to this side of town at night. Stay away from this place. Do not get drunk alone. Don't go stumbling home by yourself. Share your location all the time. Text me when this happened. Text me at this. Check in every hour. They give completely different advice to the people they care about. And all they care about when they get on the public sphere is to show this moral superiority to every one of us of the idealistic sense of what the world should be. We don't live in the idealistic sense. And that moronic information that you're doling out to the people that are stupid enough to listen to you is going to get people in precarious situations like this, getting assaulted and attacked and potentially murdered because they wanted to believe the bullshit dream you were spewing at everybody else. One that you don't believe yourself. Unreal, man. And the amount of moral superiority that we have in public spaces today, people telling you what you can and cannot do and how you should live your life and what one gender should be doing versus the other and how much you should get out of the other person and how much you're worth. And all this crap, man, is just a symptom of broken, damaged, mentally diseased people that have no direction in life. And they're just like howling into the wind, hoping people stick their heads up from the grass, listening to whatever bullshit they have to say. I live my life the way I want to live it, the way it helps me live it, and I'll share that with other men, and hopefully it helps other men that were in similar places or having similar issues, and it could be a solution for you too. That's all. When I say don't do this, don't do that, here's what I've tried, here's what's helped me, that's what's helped me. This will help me get out of the funk. This will help me get ahead. This is what I use to align my mind, my body, my spirit. I don't like it when people get on there and tell you to do all this shit that they themselves don't do. I hate getting online and getting some 6 ways to this or 3 tips for blah. And these people don't follow their own rules. It's so hard to find genuine people that just give out pragmatic advice, dude. And that's all you're looking for in the world. What works for the average person? What can I implement, at least pieces of it in my life that could help me out? Here it is, ... This is what I do. Am I perfect? No. Has it helped? Yes. Could it help you? Potentially. Don't know until you try, bro. That's it. Nothing worse than seeing our politicians get on there lecturing us about jabs, lecturing us about closing down our businesses during some pandemics while theirs are open, while they're out in secret parties, while they're out living their life. Oh, look, this person was caught getting their hair done with no mask on. Oh my God, you remember that, Pelosi? Shit is wild, dude. We live in a world today where most of our leadership, most of the people in public space with influence are fake as shit. It's a product. It's an image. It's hardly real. It's disgusting.
Oh, this is like the luxury beliefs of Me Too in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I feel as if actually we have a duty, people who are speaking publicly, to tell those girls the truth. On the assumption that they're not going to hear it from anyone else.
It's the cultural surrogate mothers, in a way.
Yeah.
You've got this line between consensual and good, which I think relates to Me Too as well. What's that?
I think that a lot of there's a lot of things that came under the Me Too banner. Some of it was just unambiguously criminal, and, Harvey Weinstein or whatever got sent to prison for criminal acts. A lot of what came up, though, a lot of the stories that got shared were things that weren't actually strictly criminal. It was just like bad behavior. It was behavior that actually in another era you probably would have been called ungentlemanly or something like that. But that vocabulary isn't available to a sort of contemporary feminist who's really bought into the sex positive message. And so they'll tend to just talk about things being consensual or not consensual. And actually the consensual, not consensual bar is like a low one. It's a legal bar. It's not actually a moral bar, really. Like there are a lot of things that a man can do on a first date or whatever that are legal but are bad. Plenty. But we don't really have the vocabulary to describe them, which is why I try and make, like the feminist case for chivalry. We shouldn't have got rid of that as a concept. Like when you have this, as stark a physical difference and psychological differences between the sexes, 99% of men can kill 99% of women with their bare hands and not vice versa. We have to operate with that recognition. Chivalry in those circumstances is obviously in women's interests, even if occasionally it will mean feeling slightly patronized. Like who cares? I'm so happy to have the door held open for me and my bags carried. It's completely fine.
If it means that someone's not going to assault me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is, I quote you and Mary about this all the time, that it is a straight line from you should hold the door open for a woman to you shouldn't beat your wife. It is one just continuous, women are worthy of protection and there is an asymmetry between what men and women can do. Yeah. And again, Rob Henderson's coming a couple of days later than you. It's like luxury beliefs all over again. Yeah. Like the women who come from societies where their husbands already knew that beating your wife would be a bad idea, or they had the support networks where that wouldn't be accepted, were trying to deconstruct a support structure that was needed for the underclass women whose husbands had grown up without a father and whose stepdad had beaten them, who just presumed that the way that you were supposed to be in a relationship was to hit your wife.
Yeah. I mean, I just, like, Chesterton's fence, like the wisdom of it. This idea from G.K. Chesterton, you come across a fence in a field, you don't know what it's there for. The progressive, the reformer, whatever vocabulary he uses, says, we don't need this fence, let's tear it down. Whereas the conservative says, no, let's find out what it's for. And then maybe we might tear it down if it turns out that it really isn't necessary. I mean, just the whole last 100 years has been like
Fences
non-stop vindication of Chesterton's fence principle. Yeah. And I honestly think that most of it actually is to do with technology. Like much as I love to complain about my political enemies, like actually the main thing that's changed for people has not been the intellectuals of the 1960s. It's been the dissolution of the family has as much to do with the pill as it does with anything any feminist has ever said. Like the real, I'm very sort of materialist in this sense. I think the real engine of history is technology. As Mary Harrington, our friend, likes to say, it's material reality plus memes.
I tend to agree with that. I think technology has just sped up the degeneration. I mean, it's mass dissemination of radicalized ideas. Retroactive consent is one of the most heinous ones that has, reared its ugly head from the fourth wave of gynocracy that we're in, whatever the wave we're in. The fact that you can go, as a woman, choose a man to sleep with, consider the experience subpar, maybe feeling some shame from his roommates or the girlfriends you tell the story the next day. And as you cackle at the table, you concoct a plan to completely take back the experience by saying it was an assault, saying you got R-worded. This has happened to multiple men. Retroactive consent has been the topic of some headlines where it has been completely destructive to the man that was completely innocent, and only some of them vindicated by video proof or text the morning after. Something rock solid. How many men today do you think currently have some sort of criminal record due to retroactive consent? Not only is retroactive consent absolutely insane, but then you have the fact that the law states that if you as a man get drunk and a woman gets drunk and then you have sexual intercourse, she can't consent while under the influence of alcohol, but you somehow can. So how did we go from female empowerment, your choice, your body, you have complete autonomy and sovereignty over your own body and decisions, yada, 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 to if I have an ounce of alcohol and you have an ounce of alcohol, you're completely absolved of all responsibilities and decision making. If we have sex and you say I did something, I'm assumed that I did something. even though I could have been blacked out drunk. I don't even remember how we got to where we got to. And your memory doesn't have to be blackout drunk, but we both had alcohol in our system. Yet I still have authority over you. Somehow, I could be even more inebriated than you. Yet you are absolved of responsibility. Is this not a twisted sense of infantilization of our women? You can't consent when you have a drop of alcohol? Can you imagine that? Unreal. Biggest impact I've seen of that movement has been the devastation false accusers wreak in the lives of men. Happened to a friend and he's never been the same. Lost his job, lost his friends, complete change in his personality. Eventually the woman comes clean and says she took things too far, but the damage is done. She faced no repercussions. I'm happy that the world is way safer for women, but women are not above lying and manipulating in order to hurt someone. False accusers should face charges. Again, that kid from Yale, falsely accused, beat the case criminally. Yale still kicks him out, loses scholarship, loses his future. Nobody wants to hire him. He's finally clear to sue Yale and his accuser. His accuser is still anonymous. His accuser is still walking free. The police found out it was a lie. Nothing happened to the accuser. I stopped a girl from getting taken advantage of once when I was living abroad in a study program. It was 3 a.m. This girl was falling down drunk outside a bar when 2 guys from our program rolled up and tried to separate her from the rest of our group. They invited her to a club down the road, and of course she was right there sitting on the curb going, "Woo, let's go." I told them no, and they didn't take the hint. I told them no and put my arm really firmly around one of the guy's shoulders. I'm by no means a big dude and probably would have got my ass kicked. When I told this story later, one girl, a progressive fembot, as it happened, denied it and actually defended the guys involved and said that they were just being friendly. They definitely weren't. This all happened at the height of the movement. The experience ended up teaching me a lot. A certain fraction of the male population is sociopathic and will always prey upon women given the opportunity. And there's a sizable fraction of the population, including women, who will ignore or justify the actions of abusers and even attack those who speak up. The movement changed none of that, clearly, although it definitely muddled gender relations enough that none of the other men in my group even tried to stop them. The funny part, I later brought up the incident to the girl in question and she didn't even remember it happening. Didn't even thank me. The only one who did thank me was a quiet girl in our group that night who was watching from a distance and didn't know what to do. I'll never forget how terrified she looked, and there are stories like this all over the place. I thought that movement was a good idea, but when women started saying you have to believe her, I knew it would be a disaster. Men lie, women lie. Jeez, this one's rough too. I was raised by a single mother who treated me like I would be an abuser. Then I went to college during the movement, where they lectured the men on how unwanted approaching was wrong and potentially get you kicked out. Now in my late 20s, I've never approached a girl. I'm convinced now that's what women actually want, but honestly, it feels too late to learn. That's the whole other side of the aisle, being raised in a single mother household, where she destroys her own son through the self-hatred of being a single mother or having a son, or him reminding her of her man that left. And now this poor kid, in a gynocentric household, shipped off to school with these negative thoughts in his head. And especially with what's going on in the culture of the movement, of course, this dude's never approached a woman, will never approach a woman. And he has to wind back all the mental damage that has programmed him to fear approaching and saying hi because he's a predator, because he's a man. How sad is that dude's life? That sucks. And there's a lot of men, and currently more and more are being raised this way. Single parent households are exploding. Feminization of men is exploding, and the demonization of men by society top down has exploded. So this guy's story here is not a one-off, and I guarantee you many men, way more than we should be comfortable with, can resonate with his story.